it's time to prepare and assemble your reciprocating chronometer clock's body. You'll need the 10mm thick clock body, the 2mm thick panel, the two sides and top of the clock movement housing, the 10mm thick feet, the 2mm thick feet, and two of the steel gear shafts for alignment. You'll also need the black wet and dry abrasive paper and some superglue. Rest the 10mm thick clock body on a flat surface with the feet facing towards you and a large square hole on the left. Rest the 2mm panel on the 10mm clock body to check they are the right way round, and you can see how the holes line up. To help them line up whilst gluing, we'll use the two steel gear shafts. Push one in the top right 4mm hole and one in the 4mm hole at the bottom. Lift the panels apart and rest the 2mm panel and steel shafts on the feet so they don't fall out. Run some superglue on the 10mm clock body as shown. Make sure no glue goes anywhere near the edges or holes, as it would be seen or could block up a hole. Now lower the 2mm panel back over the 10mm clock body so that the steel gear shafts enter their respective holes. Once aligned, push the panel down onto the base. After a few seconds, remove the shafts and place something heavy on the panel to ensure it is stuck firmly. Whilst the glue is setting, use the black wet and dry abrasive paper to clean up the 10mm feet and the two sides of the clock movement housing. Keep dipping the abrasive paper in water to stop it from getting clogged up. You'll find that one side of the 10mm laser cut parts may have soot and other blemishes that need to be sanded off. Once you're happy with the result, wipe off any remaining dust with a cloth or tissue. Once you have cleaned up the feet and sides of the clock movement housing, sand the back of the clock body until it is clean and smooth. Also sand any of the sides that need smoothing. Now it's time to assemble a clock movement housing. The insides of the sides need to line up with the sides of the square hole, if that makes any sense. The top of the movement enclosure should fit into the two rebates in the sides, and again line up with the inside of the square hole. Once you are confident in their required positions, remove the top and apply superglue along one of the sides. Line it up correctly and lower it into place. Then repeat with the other housing side, ensuring the insides and rebate line up properly with the square hole. After about 20 seconds, once the glue has set, position the top of the clock movement housing to check it fits. If it's too long, sand down one end with the wet and dry abrasive paper. Now put a little superglue into each rebate and push the top into place. It's worth putting a drip of superglue on the inside of the joint. Capillary action will draw it into the joint and reinforce it. Now it's time to fit on the feet. The holes in the 10mm thick feet are slightly conical, as the laser loses power whilst cutting through the acrylic and the cuts become thinner. So it may well be easier to push on the feet from one side. Push the 10mm thick feet into place on the clock body. Then place the 2mm thick feet underneath to check they fit and that you are confident how the feet fit together. On a flat surface, stand the clock body on its feet and push down firmly to ensure the feet are properly pushed on. Check the clock sits vertically, you could use a square if you have one to hand, and check it doesn't rock backwards or forwards. If it does, firmly wriggle the clock body until it does sit flat on both feet and is stable. Remove the 2mm feet and drip a couple of drops of superglue into the small notch at either side of each foot. Capillary action will draw the superglue into the joints. Replace a 2mm foot and run some superglue around the inside of the two holes. Lifting the 2mm feet slightly will encourage the glue to be drawn into the gap, and they can then be held tight for about 20 seconds whilst the glue sets. Repeat for the other foot. Rest the clock body upside down whilst the glue sets, as it could otherwise stick your clock body to the table. Congratulations! You've assembled your reciprocating chronometer clock's body.